University of Missouri student Riley Strain. The 22-year-old's body was recovered from the Cumberland River in Nashville last Friday, 2 weeks after he went missing during a night out with friends. Tonight, we've learned some disturbing details about how he was found. We've learned he was found without his pants, his wallet, or the cowboy boots that he was wearing the night he vanished. Surveillance video captured some of his last known steps on March 8th after he left the downtown bar where his fraternity brothers were. They were all partying together there. It was about 8 miles away from where his body was found. His disappearance mobilized an army of loved ones and strangers alike banding together to look for signs of Riley before the search came to a tragic end. Preliminary autopsy found no signs of foul play in his death, but the family is not completely satisfied tonight. They have ordered a second autopsy with even more tests that will potentially give us more insight into what happened. And joining us now, family friend Chris Dingman. Chris, thank you for coming on the show again. I understand that Riley has been returned home. His funeral will be happening on Friday. So we're obviously thinking of you all right now. And I can't imagine how difficult all of this has been. But I want to ask you about this second autopsy and some of the new information you've learned. What's new here?
The family did have a second autopsy, actually in Tennessee, following the Metro Nashville autopsy from a private individual company that does that. The original autopsy come out just like theirs did, with no obvious signs of trauma, as in weapons, guns or knives, or etc.
Right.
But they were able to do a little bit more testing on specific items. One thing that threw the family for a loop was, the coroner going on record with a news person in Nashville stating about the lack of water in his lungs. It raises more questions. I'm not a crime drama person by no means, but usually water in the lungs means that, they were alive when they went into the water. So more questions. We hope they're going to get some answers with the toxicology. I just hope that this doesn't get swept underneath the rug, because the family deserves more answers than we have.
Now, real quick, because I got to hop in here for fair use and all that stuff. And shout out to Dingman. Shout out to Brian Enton for having this interview and this information. But like I said, that's interesting. And like I said, he even said it himself. No water in the lungs, baby. And the family is just sitting there going, we just want answers. Doesn't mean that they think, ooh, foul play. But it does seem weird. And they just want answers. To me, that makes sense. It just makes sense. Now, all of this, I really do think that it's the track record and the stigma that has been attached to 5-0 that has rubbed the family the wrong way. And then as soon as they say, oh, here's the autopsy, no foul play, bye-bye, family gets mad. Understandable. Because they're saying, well, then what actually happened then? Did he really trip and fall? Or no? Family deserves some answers for sure. And the fact that it seemingly seems like that 5-0 police are just kind of like moving on to the next issues, the next crime that's being committed right now. Yeah, it's rubbing the family the wrong way, and it would definitely rub me the wrong way too. Okay? Let's keep it a buck. Let's go.
What about the boots, Chris? Tell us what you've learned in terms of what Riley was wearing and what he wasn't wearing when he was discovered.
Riley, we were told, which blew the family away. It actually went out on social media, and I screenshotted it and sent it to our war room, and was like, who in the world is this? Who is releasing this information? Because at the time, certain family members didn't even know about that, which really kind of blew us away. Not sure how they got that information. Once again, one more question. But yeah, unfortunately, the only thing that was found with him, as the police stated in the report, was the watch and the shirt. Everything else was not with him when he was found.
You're hearing this from the source himself. This is not hearsay. This is not some BS. These were in the reports. This young man was pantless. He did not have his boots. He did not have his wallet. He did not have his cell phone as well, guys. No cell phone. Okay? They're saying only thing that he had on him, aside from that shirt, was his watch. Again, many possibilities could have happened before we go down that train of thinking all kinds of crazy conspiracies and we start wearing the tinfoil hat. Before we go into all that, put certain things into consideration. His body fell into that water and nature could have done the rest. Remember that. That cell phone could have been in his pants. The wallet could have been in his pants, his boots, etc. He could have all of that fallen into the water. And then maybe because of the current and how strong that current is, especially during that time, maybe he got caught on something and that stuff just stripped right off his body. Remember, everything from the bottom half would contain his cell phone, his wallet, his pants, and his boots. All those things could have been stripped from the gush and the force of water in that river. Just think about that for a second. It could also still be he could have been robbed and rolled into the damn river. That's still a possibility. But we have to put in consideration that there are other possibilities here as well. Let's continue.
And if you can describe the boots that he was wearing, because that could end up being significant.
His mother was pretty sure they were Justin's, and they were a square nose style cowboy boot, kind of a flat color. Once again, the jeans were, I think, buckle is what the jeans were. We already knew about the Michael Kors billfold. You know, there's specific things that we've been out in front of this entire time looking for in case this did come up. So we're hoping now that maybe that they will come up so we can get more answers.
So his cowboy boots were not on when he was found, and his jeans were not on, and his wallet was missing. Do you know, Chris, if he was wearing a belt?
That's a damn good question.
That I do not know, unfortunately. But in one of the pictures we went back and looked at, I'd always preach to the boys about keeping their billfold in their front pocket. Just to being in clubs, it's real easy to get pickpocketed. And the one picture where the boys are all together outside, if you look in the right front pocket, we're pretty sure that's where he had his billfold. So the billfold should have been secured in his pants. Unfortunately, we don't have those answers right now.
Maybe it could have been fully secure in his pants. But remember, his credit card or his debit card was found in the area where he disappeared, okay, where he was last seen. What are the chances of him wearing some pants that are, you know, maybe loose in the pockets area? You see what I'm saying? In fact, before we continue on, okay, let's remember this. 410. We were at 410. I just want to pull something up because I feel like we need to bring this video back up one more again because this was the last. Well, actually, let me pull up this photo. See, one thing that sucks about this is you can't really see if he's wearing a belt buckle, if he's wearing a belt. And of course, you want to see, you know, in my mind, I would want to see a belt buckle, right? That's what I'm hoping for. But these pants, though, seem to be a bit loose, a bit. But if he's wearing belt, if he's wearing a belt, that's a different story. You feel me? Then that would be on his body. Unless, you know, it's all depending on how he wears his jeans or how he likes his belt, you know, how tight he wants his pants around his waist, right? Now, this is a very skinny kid, too. Let's not forget that, too. He's 6'7", 6'6", 6'7". I've heard different stories about his height. He is 160 pounds. And let me tell you something. I'm 6'4". I weigh way more than this young man. But I'm telling you right now, it is hard as hell to find pants at a retail store that even fits my body. So imagine him trying to find pants in general. He may have to, depending, if he bought retail, it could have been something that's not so to his waist size. Because you got to remember, he's 160 pounds. This is a skinny man. All right. Maybe he just had loose fitting jeans. They may be a few sizes waist-wise too big for his body. He may be wearing a belt to keep it up for the most part, keep his pants up, but maybe it's loose still. Like I said, listen, you trying to find just a 34 or a 36 or 38, whatever. Shoot, a 28, man, even smaller than that. I don't know what his hip size, his waist size is, but real talk, it's hard to find long pants for tall guys. So depending on where he found these pants, do you think that this is true to size? Maybe not. Think about it for a second. He may have worn something a little loose. Possibly. But in fact, to just send it all the way home, real quick, let's look at the body cam footage real quick, and we're going to continue on with that video. Let's look at the body cam footage one more again. Just the part where we see him. Because maybe we could see how these pants look on him. You see what I'm saying? How he moves, it could be super baggy. You never know. So let's take a look. Let's exhaust every option. All right, let's take a look. I took off the sound, but take a look. I mean, they look pretty. It's like a loose boot cut, it looks like to me. That's what it looks like. One more again. It is interesting. Hold on. I'm going to try another one here real quick. We do have another angle. Don't we, though? I got to find it. Surveillance footage. Remember this? Let's take a look at this, too. Hey. Let's look at this. Look at his pants. It looks like a loose boot cut. That's what it looks like to me. Now, yeah, it looks pretty loose. But anyway, this is interesting, okay? Nonetheless, it's interesting. But let me pull up the video and let's finish that video out. Like I said, pants, boots, wallet, gone. Very interesting, okay? But that still doesn't mean foul play. But it could, though, too, and they need to do everything they can. They need to exhaust every option as soon and as best as they can. Let's watch the rest. Oops. Wrong one. Hold on. Just queuing it up. All right. Here we go. Let's take a look at the rest of this. Hit the number one again. Just let me know you guys can hear this. Let's rock and roll.
Their billfold in their front pocket. Just to being in clubs, it's real easy to get pickpocketed. And the one picture where the boys are all together outside, if you look in the right front pocket, we're pretty sure that's where he had his billfold. So the billfold should have been secured in his pants. Unfortunately, we don't have those answers right now.
Last time we spoke, you mentioned that police had told the family, this was right after his body was discovered, that there were still some people that they wanted to talk to. We know there's a homeless sort of camp in that area. Have they been able to talk to those people? Have you learned any more on that front?
We have not been notified. Actually, one of the people of interest, a little bit after an hour Riley was found, I was back at that scene and just happened to see that person. And so we had a group of volunteers that kind of followed the gentleman. We called the police, let them know that we had found him because we hadn't been notified they had talked to yet, and was told by the police that, that was no longer a person of interest. They had somebody else they were interested in. But we know from the homeless people that lived there, that was the person that was supposedly up on the road when Riley fell into the bushes or whatever happened. and he yelled back down that, this was just somebody that had been drinking. It was okay. So
I'm rolling that back one more time so y'all can hear that in the nosebleed seats. One more again. I'm rolling it a little bit further back. We're going to hear that whole thing all over again. And like I said, this is coming from the family. Same thing that I just talked about for. Let's take a look.
Not been notified. Actually, one of the people of interest, a little bit after an hour, Riley was found. I was back at that scene and just happened to see that person. And so we had a group of volunteers that kind of followed the gentleman. We called the police, let them know that we had found him because we hadn't been notified they had talked to yet, and was told by the police that, that was no longer a person of interest. They had somebody else they were interested in. But
had somebody else that they're interested in. Interesting.
We know from the homeless people that lived there, that was the person that was supposedly up on the road when Riley fell into the bushes or whatever happened, and he yelled back down that, this was just somebody that had been drinking. It was okay. So
interesting. Like I said, I just said it earlier in the show. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this is not foul play or not. The fact that law enforcement has not exhausted every possibility seems a bit odd. The fact that they are hearing things from other people, from the a witness, an eyewitness that ran into Riley, had a conversation, and was the one that yelled down, he's just drunk, he's okay. The fact that police haven't even talked to him yet is a little bit weird, guys. Like I said, it's just weird. Doesn't mean, oh, foul play, no, Doesn't mean that. Doesn't automatically mean that. But at the same time, why aren't police looking into that? Just saying. Let's continue, though. Let us continue, though.
Once again, a little more confusion. I hope that the ball hasn't been dropped on this. There's numerous people in the videos at the detention center that coincide with the police officer's body cam and a time stamped where they show up on footage still walking north. I strongly believe, and it may just be a love family one knowing that wanting some more answers, but I think there's somebody out there that knows what actually happened that night, and we would love for them to come forward, and we need some more info.
Verbatim what I just told you guys throughout this entire show, you just heard it. Not from her, but from our man, Chris Dingman. Not hearsay. Information that they received. Information that they got from police reports and other eyewitnesses that were there. People that allegedly ran into Riley and screamed, was the one on the other side at the top of the hill, where Riley was, okay, screaming down at the guy saying, no, he's just drunk, he's okay. He heard his information, his account. Now he was pantless, no boots, no wallet, no cell phone. Now again, could very well be nothing. Water could have done all that. But it is interesting that they haven't gone to the homeless gentleman that ran into him physically and not had a conversation with that young man or with that man. Okay. And then also the other footage. I said exactly what he said. Verbatim. The footage that we watched that was beyond the second bridge, which could, he even said, which could be nothing. It could be nothing, but it could be something too. Maybe they saw something. Maybe those guys are all innocent and nothing of it. What about those guys that were on the scooters that were scooting on by? Did they see Riley as they were passing down, enjoying their ride? Enjoying their little joyride? Did they see a drunk guy? falling all over himself as they were scootering down. The people that looked like they were carrying a couch, did they see him right there, leaning up against a railing, drunk as hell, by himself? Like I said, it doesn't make sense.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.